talking to you about tool belts, more specifically, how to avoid strains and injuries due to misplaced tool belts, tools, and a whole variety of issues that may come about from improper tool belt usage. So, if you're watching this, you probably have a tool belt, and as you know, they make your life a lot easier. No more reaching down, making trips to the truck, calling out for help from others. You got it all in your hips. You can store as much or as little as you want. They're great. However, you need to be careful and learn some tips on how to use them a little more safely, because they can be dangerous. And even though it might not be hurting you today, 10 years from now, if you have all your weight on your left side and you're unevenly carrying it, 10 years from now, you're going to have a bad hip, and that is going to be pretty painful and uneven muscle symmetry later on in life. So you're going to want to pay attention today so that you can be safer tomorrow. The first tip I have for you is to arrange your tools properly and make sure they work for you. Carpenter's pencil, use it all the time. Dominant hand, I'm a righty. So this tool belt right here by our company, has it right up front. Keeps it right here, really close. You're using it all the time. You can go real easily. If you want, you can also take it, drop it in this outer pocket right here. Really close, really easy. Got another pencil here. If you have a tool belt or something that's throwing in the back or making you use, you want to be as efficient as possible with little movement. Right in the front, right here. Other tool belts, you want to be careful that if they're in the back or something like that, it's harder to get to. So you want to make sure your tools are where you can use them most frequently. Like I have a hammer here, you can also put that right behind. Got a hammer holder right there. Whatever is easiest and requires the least movement to get to. Some tools, like I got this pair right here. What are these called? Nippers. And I don't use these too often. I have crowbar, cat's paw right here. So I keep them in the back. It's still helpful for me, but I don't use them too often, so I keep them out back. I wouldn't want to put like my hammer all the way in the back left, because that's a big turn in motion. So figure out where they go and try and move the more used tools to the front and other less tools to the back. Also with that, make sure that you do an inventory of your tools sometimes. Some people carry extra tools, and after a while they'll just keep carrying and carrying it. Okay, I got a torpedo level right here. It's light, it seems light. I don't use it too often, and although every once in a while it's helpful, it's probably worth me just getting rid of it. It's often better to go with the lightweight setup and make maybe one extra trip on occasion, if that means saving a decent amount of weight. So every so often, do a quick check. What are you using? Are you really using that? Do you really need 5 pounds of 16 pennies on you, or whatever you have? So check to make sure that your tools are in the right spot, easier in the front, dominant hand, non-dominant hand, and also they don't carry all this extra bulk that really isn't necessary. The next tip I have for you is on wearing your tool belt and pouches correctly. I would hope that you're not wearing a super skinny belt, like a dress belt you might have, that's like maybe 1.5 inches, something skinny, and wear something a little bigger. 1.5 inches, that's just going to dig right into your hips and not distribute the weight well at all. This right here is our R-Dog 3-inch belt, and so that's going to really do a good job distributing the weight up and down your hip and belly a little bit. So make sure you have something a little thicker that can distribute that weight. Another option is a padded belt like this. We don't sell padded belts currently, but there's a lot of great padded belts where it has, this one right here, has this outer layer that you put the pouches through. Has a little Velcro in the front, and it's got this padding right here that I think is like sweat resistant. It has some nice padding to make it extra comfortable and feel good when you're working with that tool belt, extra comfortable. Another thing you can do, which a lot of guys do, is get some suspenders. Get some D-rings around here, toss them over your shoulders, and take that weight off your hips. If you have more than a crazy amount of weight, I mean, it really depends, personal to you. If you're a strong guy, you can carry some real weight. But if it feels like it's starting to get heavy with just this, try a pair of suspenders and see what difference they can make and if they can really take some weight off. Because again, you don't just want to take all that weight and throw it right onto your shoulders. You want to distribute it. Then your body can handle some weight. It's just all this weight at once. You really want a little bit on your left, a little on your right, a little on your shoulders. Distribute your weight nicely. The next tip I have for you is a little bit less tool belt related, but it's still very important. Your posture. I know I don't want to be your grandmother and tell you, but posture is very important. And again, today, tomorrow, next week, next month, you're probably not going to notice a difference if you got a little hunch going on, something like that. But in 10 years, that's really going to aggravate yourself and get worse and worse and worse. So do yourself a favor and stand up straight. On the job, that might mean you have to work a second longer and take an extra step. If you can lean forwards, hammer something in, make the extra effort. Just take a step so you can get it in. Save yourself later on when you don't need to be all bent over. So posture, very important. With that too, lifting things, I know, use your legs. Don't strict deadlift it. We know you're that strong. Put some legs into it. Your body will thank you later. My next tip is to make sure all your tools are oriented safely. Kind of going back to the organization, I don't have it on me. Let's say a utility knife. You don't want to store that right up here upright, or a chisel. You're not going to want that sticking up at you or digging into your side. Store those bad boys down. I don't really have any too dangerous tools. I mean, wire cutters right here. Nothing crazy sharp, but you don't want them sticking up like that. If I'm going like this, it's got a little edge to it. If I'm trying to grab that pencil, scratch myself, they got rubber handles for a reason. Stick them down and be safe. So take those tools, make them safe. I know I keep harping on the point that you can do things today, you might not notice the damage, but later on it's going to hurt you. Think about that with your tool belt really in depth, really try and process that. There are some setups that might be a little quicker. Carrying 5-10 pounds of nails on each side might give you some extra speed, but take a step back and say, what's the extra cost if I don't do that extra trip? Then what's the damage later on? Bad hips. Sometimes it's okay to sacrifice a little bit of time. It's not going to kill you to slow down every hour or two and make an extra trip for another tool. Then maybe you're saving some weight. So for you, you really need to decide how much time can you waste. Well, not waste, it's actually a good use. Can you sacrifice to getting it later outside of your tool belt versus loading all the way up? It's a trade-off. So only you can make that decision. But again, think about your time and think about your health later on and the repercussions that can come. I hope you found this video useful. We write a lot more blogs and tips on our website, rdawg.com, rdawg.com. Sell these tool belts, some different cool things, make YouTube videos. Hope you found this enjoyable.